a Sunday edition of Live Before Lock. Lindquist, Shander, Jordan, all three of us, the trio, the crew.
The Holy Trinity.
It is something like that. I do. Now, I can't say that because it could be misconstrued as, religion on religion crime here. So you can say that as a member of the faith, right?
No, well, here's the thing. On Wednesday, we were fortunate. I think maybe the word isn't fortunate. We had to go to dinner with Adam Scherer on Wednesday. And, he decided to just perpetuate this myth that people only watch for him. They only watch for Josh and they only watch for Adam. He's like, yeah, don't put Jordan Klein and Eric Lindquist in the same category as those two goats. To which I replied, fuck you. And then moved on with my day. Because that's just a mean thing to say. And I don't appreciate that kind of insensitivity.
It's definitely not nice. I'll give you that. Nice. It's not nice. But
so I acted out and I felt bad.
There is a reason why you're both slumming it with me on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it doesn't get worse than this. This is absolutely the graveyard shift. There's no way. I was at Dead and Company last night at Dodger Stadium.
I saw you put a picture of that
at a box with the WB box. Miles Teller was walking around like my life was bougie as F yesterday, and you know what? It ain't today. So let's talk some DFS and kick it, shall we?
Yeah, well, we've got some time to stretch out here. The 10 games on the big DK slate that we're going to get into. But you had yourself an awesome night last night as anybody following at Eric Lindquist on Twitter got a chance to see those pictures there. Was Jordan with you as well?
No, not last night. No, surprisingly enough, a Dead and Company concert is exactly where I think Jordan would want to be. But
yeah,
there were two tickets. They were not mine. The invites were thrown out and I didn't even get to bring my wife. I brought my wife's best friend who has kind of become like one of my best friends. It's great when you have that stuff happen in life. No, it's a great thing.
That sounds like a side action show, not necessarily a DFS show. No, I didn't even mean side action like that. I meant side action like our channel.
Yeah, I'm aware.
It was a pun.
Oh, look at you, propaganda pusher. It was Jordan Klein. I should have had that on speed dial because again, Dead and Company is exactly where you'd expect that man to be.
I would think so. All right, well, let's look. We'll bounce around. We'll bounce in and out of this slate over the next 60 plus, I'm sure, as we have many things that are going to distract us throughout the day here.
Probably.
But we do have a couple of things to look at right away. And let us begin in Atlanta. And it's going to be a pretty similar theme for the first couple of games here. But let's start here. Pirates, as expected, looking at what we have overall with the Braves, higher run projection, and really just not much from Pittsburgh. So looking at that as a whole, it's really just about where you want to attack anybody on the pitcher side, first and foremost.
Not really for me with Jose Quintana. I mean, that's a woof kind of spot. I know there's positive leverage. You could always say, hey, he has positive leverage. We have that for him and Edward Cabrera. But you know who I don't want to roster? Him or Edward Cabrera. So I'm going to be getting all the skewball in all the land if people are going to be gearing away from that. That'll be where I get my positive leverage from. But absolute hard pass on Jose Quintana. Once upon a time, he was good. This is not once upon a time. 465 expected slugging, 20% K percentage on the season. Walking dudes at a higher clip, 8.3%. Everything kind of sets up for me to look at Atlanta. I don't think that should shock anybody.
No, not at all. But look, Kyle Wright's going to be the spend up guy that we have. Verlander's on this slate here as well. So I anticipated that there will be a lot of discussion focus around Wright. But look, every now and again, there's I'm getting to 0.4% of a guy who's 0.5% owned. So we do have to bring Quintana up just for that reason.
Oh, totally. Yeah, but I hate him.
Right.
So there's that. Kyle Wright, we like positive leverage. Kyle Wright, we like him at 10-1. The thing that really exists is this chasm between him and Verlander, and Kyle Wright, 27.2% K percentage. If this were last year, that'd be one thing, but he's actually getting closer to Justin Verlander. I don't think people realize really that Verlander's at a 27% K percentage. By 0.2%, Kyle Wright has the gear up in terms of the matchup, and also in terms of the matchup. Pittsburgh, a far less intimidating offense than Miami. I think we brought it up a number of times now on the show. Got surprisingly strong splits against right-handed pitching. Obviously, Jazz Chisholm wasn't even in the lineup yesterday. You bring him back. But Miami against right-handed pitching, 117 WRC plus, a 167 ISO. So I get why Verlander is very, very popular. He's a great option at 10-5, but compared to Kyle Wright, you should definitely, if you're playing tournaments, and I assume 99.9% of you guys in chat are, we have to be playing more Kyle Wright in the long term. It's just the better move.
Yeah, especially when you look at the top of the board, you referenced the positive leverage, and Scooble's going to be the other guy that is going to get some convo only because of that 8 near 9K range that we have. But you're getting so much leverage compared to Verlander and Coppage. It just makes sense if you're spending up like that. Do you, and this is going to look at across the board for you, but are you getting to, you think, in your 150s or so, many or any opportunities where you are getting the top two guys, cost guys in Verlander and Wright in the same lineup?
Not a lot today. A lot of the offenses that we want to get to. No, like almost zero. I'm playing 80 lineups. I will find out for you. I have 3 lineups out of 80 that have the 2. Okay. And it's pretty clear cut what you're doing. If you look at the top value stacks, I mean, Milwaukee just stands out again in terms of, they're going to be a little bit overowned in spots, but their prices against Paulo Espino are just so ridiculous. So you're going to run into some type of builds where I think it's pretty viable to be going to those 2 specifically on DraftKings. Obviously, you're only rostering one guy over on FanDuel. And, at the current prices, just even looking at the pitcher board now, you're probably going to be running into more Kyle Wright over there as well. Again, 400 less than Verlander. Yep. Identical K percentages this season, name recognition really being the main factor. And again, Miami has been just so sneaky good against right-handed pitching. And I think that goes a little bit understated. So I want to definitely be higher on the Kyle Wright side today.
Okay. So on the other side of the conversation, the aisle, if you will, Lindquist, we look at attacking, and clearly the angle here is to attack Quintana as much as you can.
Yeah, it really is. I will say the wind, there was something earlier today where I saw Atlanta, I guess it's slightly blowing out to left here, but 90 degrees. This is like an all systems go 1 through 9. You get power, you get potential throughout that lineup. You get salary savings in the likes of Duvall and Harris at the outfield position, even though Harris is now up to 3,100, Duvall up to 3,700. That's still some ammunition in the back half of the lineup that you're going to mix into stacks. Priorities, Acuna, Riley. There's a reason that they're 20 and 15% respectively over on DK. It's just kind of a can't miss spot against Quintana for me. I'm going to have shares. I don't know if I'm going to be going way overweight on Acuna. I think that there's a lot of sneaky plays, especially like in terms of one-offs. There's ways to go out and build. I'm removing him from some of my one-offs stacks. Well, I just want him involved in stacks. So if you're in Fantasy Cruncher, if you're going through groups, if you're putting things together with the team stacks, and you can add a 1-player team stack, you can basically pick your one-offs through and through. He's a guy that I'm unselecting in that capacity. He'll pretty much explicitly be just stacks for me. I know that everybody else plays him as a one-off. He's around 20%. I think I'm just more willing to take shots on lower owned one-offs in those kind of situations.
Yeah. And look, this team has been absolutely on fire, much like 2 other teams, one that we'll talk about in a sec, the other that you referenced a little bit less of Miami. So it's not just one guy clearly fueling this that you can take advantage of. That's the point. All right. So we'll bypass the rest of anything that you can scrape up here with Pittsburgh and move on to game 2 here, right? Yeah.
Maybe it's chasey to say Brian Reynolds, but he's always been a major league hitter, and he was always going to start hitting better than what we saw in the early part of this season. 428 expected slugging. You've now got Marcano leading off at the top of that order. He strikes out a lot, so that's another bolstering number. 27.7% in his young career here so far. That helps Kyle Wright's projection for me a little bit as well. Yeah. But yeah, Kyle Wright through and through. This is just a much better matchup than Miami is. The numbers prove it. Even if your brain is trying to shut down because it's Miami, I'm much more on the side of Kyle Wright today. So I'm going to be playing partial the ownership game, but also just what I'm seeing in the numbers. So I don't really have a lot of Pittsburgh Pirates interest. I have a couple shares of Brian Reynolds. Daniel Vogelbach has no neck anymore, so that's fun. You can roster that dude at $4.99. Doesn't even look like a linebacker. He used to look like that to me. He's just out of shape, gigantic human being who tries to swing a bat hard. He can do it from time to time. So maybe a share of him, but yeah, Brian Reynolds passing on everything else.
All right, so hit that thumbs up button, please. A bunch of people hanging with us. See, that's the Lindquist effect on a Sunday morning, depending on where you may be. And I was laughing, not because of something you said. I was
Obviously.
actually, well, yeah, it wouldn't be that. I was scrolling up to try and find a question that I saw in Emacs comment about you doing a show with ET on the 40th anniversary. It was actually pretty funny. I will give Emac has some funny ones, man. That's where's Butthole looking for some dong pics? That one's knocked right out of the park. Did you see that movie as a child? Were you too young for it?
No, I saw that movie as a kid. Are you kidding me?
Is that like a right?
I mean, I was negative what years old when it came out, but I definitely watched it when I was a kid.
Okay. Well, yeah, you were definitely negative on the plus minus of when it came out. I understand that, but I was just curious if you saw it or if it was just like, I'm not watching that shit. That's parents stuff.
It's a lovely coming of age story for an alien and a young girl.
It is.
That sounds creepy.
It is. Well, depending on where you are. All right, let's go to Washington, and I imagine you don't want much here of the pitching matchup. Is that a fair assessment?
We're going Milwaukee, Washington.
Yes, we are. We're in Washington here. And I think that when you look at everything here at the bottom, what we have projected on site, which again, we're running that 50% off Awesemo plus Platinum this month. MLB Strategy Show is the code. Lindquist has been hawking this sucker here, right? I see the numbers. I see you bumping it up. I see you moving the MLB show up.
What are we talking about? What?
Well, it was.
Hot Fire 614. You guys are beautiful people. I was gonna say I'm a hot draw with these prizepicks.com. Let's go.
What?
I don't know. Keep going. Oh shit. Got it. MLB Strategy Show. Yeah. There's that. Cool. Use that 50% off your first month of Awesemo plus Platinum.
Yeah, what the hell? Like, could we pay somebody to just film whatever's going on behind you or around you?
I'm focused on a lot of things right now, Eytan Shander.
Yeah. Seems
counterintuitive. Specifically not listening to you.
I know, but it seems counterintuitive that you're here to give people advice.
Oh, well, you're not playing pitchers. If you wanted to get to a couple shares of Jason Alexander.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. He doesn't strike anybody out. 3 and 1 strike. It's whatever. He's 6,800 on DK. There's a 0.0% chance that you probably want to be clicking his name over on FanDuel, even though, he's coming off a quality start. He's stretched out. There's no real issue there. But I mean, this is by far the worst of the starters that you have here for Milwaukee. Maybe he's going to be decent going forward, but this is just not really a pitching spot to be getting to anything. He's an extreme ground ball guy. 16 and 11 ground balls in his first 2 starts, as opposed to 2 and 6 fly balls. Don't really have interest in Washington. Don't really have interest in him. Like if he falls into a lineup or 2, whatever.
So before we look at Milwaukee, as far as the stack and what you can do with them, clearly they're going to have some negative leverage on this 10-game slate because of the pitching matchup there. Washington, maybe surprisingly, maybe not, depending on how you look at the rest of the slate here, isn't necessarily a smash for a lot of people, not gaining a ton as far as that matchup against Alexander. But I think it's more just the team. And overall, this matchup with Alexander is not pushing. You're getting a little bit of positive leverage, so they're not out by any means. And they are in the middle of where we have our top stack percentage ranked for today. But it isn't like a major smash as far as Alexander. I think there's still a little bit of nerves or maybe consideration to the matchup from Washington standpoint.
Look at that. Bringing the narratives into play. Let's go. I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried about the fact that Jason Alexander through 2 starts is just getting the ball to go straight directly into the ground. And I know Washington went nuts yesterday. They ended up in some of the winning lineups in some spots with their stack that went berserk out of the middle of nowhere. I don't really buy into this offense long-term. Lane Thomas isn't that good leading off here. Juan Soto, you can always play Juan Soto. That shouldn't be some revelatory thing here. But when it comes to Alexander, it's a pitcher that I think is just the same time that he's not going to be super fantasy viable going forward. I'm assuming that the ball's just going directly into the ground continuously. That seems to be his profile. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in trying to pick on him with any bats here. But Juan Soto, yeah, he's a major league hitter. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. You could absolutely get to some shares of him as a one-off. Going to be a lot lower owned than some of the other top guys, whether it's Judge, whether it's, some of the Philly guys who I have a lot of interest in today for sure. And then Acuna, who we talked about already.
Yep, absolutely. No, and I think that now opens up for Milwaukee, where it's just about how you're working the negative leverage. If you're capping or if you're simply looking at maybe smaller stacks against Espino.
Yeah, I definitely like Milwaukee. I talked about them from a value perspective for DraftKings purposes. You get Rowdy Tellez, 3,600. That's kind of a broken price tag for how good he's been throughout this season and how much power he's got. Yelich, 4,200, starting to get some loft on the ball. His back's just healthy. I'm a degree of separation away from young Yelich, and his back is healthy. He can beat an elite hitter. So there you go. I'm not saying he's going to get back to MVP form immediately, but we're starting to see him get some loft on the ball, and things are starting to piece together there for him. You get Jace Peterson, salary savings, 2,600, even batting eighth. I have interest getting to him in stacks. Narvaez, sub 4K, McCutchen, 3,100, Tyrone Taylor, even in the 9-hole, 3,200. 1 through 9, they're rosterable. They're pretty darn cheap in a lot of these spots. There's not a single batter that I won't have shares of for Milwaukee.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, especially as we just look at both of these guys, near the bottom there. All right, we'll move to Philadelphia then and look at this matchup, which is going to be, again, the theme here, where it's one team that has the higher run projection and kind of taking advantage of the difference in stack here. Although I do think, as we've seen, Ranger Suarez is not unhittable by any means. So let's look at Kyle Nelson, whatever Arizona is sending there. It is, and I'm just here letting you know, it is going to be like 67 to 70 degrees. It's going to be rainy. It's not going to be that nice sun, beautiful heat where the ball goes off of Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Harper's bat. So keep that in mind as well. But we've got Kyle Nelson and Ranger Suarez on the mound. And again, I think that's more just about what you like with Suarez, more so than anything that this team has been doing overall.
So temperature isn't the only indicator of home run ability. You have dew point, you have wind, you have a lot of other factors, and dew point high, wind blowing out 10 miles per hour to left. It's still a home run friendly situation here. It's going to be a bullpen game, which is frustrating, but they're throwing one of their two lefties out to start off the game. What is his name? The Nelson character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be Luke Weaver, who's the long
reliever.
reliever. And let me tell you what I think about Luke Weaver in the year of our Lord 2022. Not a whole heck of a lot. So he's not going to pitch all that long. It's going to be a straight up bullpen game. So do they still have Bear Claw? That's what I was wondering. I forgot about this human being. And this was the situation where I was kind of like looking up how many guys they had from the left side going up against Schwarber, against Harper. But it's not like there's any kind of an issue getting to whomever in this Philly lineup. Even Moniak, I guess, is going to be something long-term, even if I don't see it. Bryson Stott has had some massive upside games here of late. I don't really know what to think about that left on left in certain situations, but all I know is that the ball, I expect to actually be flying a little bit more, and it shows in Vegas's projection there, 5.5 implied run total. I think that the ball is definitely going to be more of a home run profile than you do, and it's not just temperature dependent.
No, it's not. But I'm telling you, just because I was on this morning and I was on right after the weather report here by a award-winning meteorologist, Eric. The wind is
you are so cool. I am such a loser.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, I heard that. That's what I heard. That was the subtext.
Well, no, I would just say that. So let me rewind.
Also, why do you have a golf background on a baseball show?
Is it golf? I thought that was the baseball one.
It's a golf ball.
I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you? There you go.
You feel better?
Yeah, a little bit. I was feeling very not okay.
Back to what I was saying about this morning. I am so cool, and you are such a loser. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Thank you. I just like to hear it up front. It's like the friends who pretend to be friends to your face, but I'd rather just hear that you hate me and we can do something about it.
Yeah, right. I texted you, all right, when you were going through something. I never even heard back. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh, I got my car broke into. Leave me alone.
Yeah, and I texted you, hey, is everything okay? I didn't even hear anything back. I bet you Jordan texted you. You can send a text right back. Oh, yeah, I'll bring on the bong right over. Yeah, no problem.
Dude, bro, chill life.
Exactly.
Dude, bro, chill life. DBC.
No, I think
More sensitive, Eric. Baby. Maybe
I like
slightly.
the Phillies to score today. I just don't think the ball is going to fly like you do out of the park. But that doesn't mean they can't put 9 runs up today. That's
T.
fine.
McBee, Bear Claws on the Angels now. I had no idea where he was. I just know he's with Arizona, and that's like one dude that.
Yeah. Well, look, you're getting about 20% of the field, just under that, of Ranger Suarez. So this guy is, again, Arizona can get to him if they find a way, patient. So I don't know if the stack for Arizona becomes a little bit more appealing. We do have them with a decent score, not out of the picture by any means, and you're going to get some leverage that you can work with.
I stack up Arizona a lot more than other people do, and I'm probably going to be doing the same thing today. The one thing for Ranger Suarez is he limits hard contact in a really severe way, 30.8% hard hit percentage. We're still seeing a 266 expected batting average, 427 expected slugging, and there's some guys, specifically Christian Walker, that I just don't really care. I'm going to play him against a lefty. I'm going to play, even Ketel Marte. You're going to play some of these outfielders. Luplow leading off here today is pretty interesting to me. Like I feel as though I've been taking crazy pills for a while, and I just keep rostering a lot of these Arizona guys. Sure, you don't have Peralta, you get Alec Thomas and Pavin Smith left on left. Those aren't nearly as appealing spots, but I can still mine out something. I'm playing quite a bit of that combination of Carson Kelly, the catcher spot, along with Christian Walker. I think on FanDuel, they make a very appealing 3-man type stack that you're looking at getting to some of those righties. I want to probably shy away from, too much Josh Rojas left on left or things of that nature. But these guys are completely unowned against Suarez. I already talked about the game environment being decent enough for a home run profile. And so, yeah, give me Christian Walker every day ending in Y. He is always one of my favorite one-offs to be getting to. I feel like I've been saying that for a month and a half.
Yeah. And look, hopefully people have been paying attention, right?
Yeah, he's unreal right now. Was he at 15 homers, I think?
Yep.
15 homers. Yeah. Bats 197. Who cares? Just 4K, 1% home runs. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, there are Ks in that Arizona lineup too. I did see Shane Hall mentioning that. So just to touch on Suarez himself, because we didn't really get your thoughts or concerns.
Oh, I really don't have any Suarez interest. I mean, the Ks are down to 19.4% now, down from 25.6% last year. I'm looking at last year as an outlier at this point. I think earlier in the season, his fastball just it's a dead fastball. There's no move. There's no spin whatsoever. Like this has to be bottom 1 percentile in terms of fastball spin. Just basically throw in meatball, whatever up there. I think he's been getting by pretty decently. Again, the hard hit, that's kind of been the thing he's done really, really well since his rookie season. 2018, 42.3% hard hit percentage, now down to a 32.8% average for his career. He's just going to try to get by limiting massive damage. But again, there's enough power in some of these bats, even Varsho left on left. I'll probably get to a little bit because nobody's going to click on that. I just have a lot more Arizona interest. I feel like almost every single day than the field.
Yeah, it makes sense too, as you've been on Arizona, so that you're a good candidate to kind of deep dive the whole thing with Suarez in this matchup. All right, let's move.
If they were ever a popular offense, like we've had Arizona and Cincy and stuff like that, I don't roster them when they're popular. They're just never popular. They're not a good offense.
But they should be a little more popular.
They're second, what is it? 77 WRC plus, 25% K percentage. Maybe Suarez has some kind of ability to get by here, but I'm much more inclined. He's 18.5% owned. I'm definitely going to be underneath that.
Yeah.
We just have a top 2 pitcher percentage of 10.7% of him. I would rather go to just about any other pitcher. John Gray, Jeffrey Springs, Michael Kopech, anybody else in that range. Jameson Taillon. I'd rather get to all of them before I roster any Ranger Suarez. I might just take him out of my player pool now that I'm saying it out loud.
I love it. Arizona is the 3rd least owned stack we have projected on DraftKings today, and that's just not right. And I think you would agree with that, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's go to the Yankees game. Bombers hosting the Cubbies. And we'll start with a pitching matchup here and see how you kind of look at this whole thing. Interesting angle with the Cubs, I'll give you, and I'm sure you can play this on Prize Picks where you are. I'll play this on the books where I am, but let's talk about the pitching matchup first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with Taillon just because I'm going to roster him. So
Yeah.
Jameson, he's just a
That would be
serviceable.
good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a real life pitcher. And on the other side of this one, Keegan Thompson might be, but against the Yankees, there's just no way that I'm going to do it. Jameson Taillon, sub 20% K percentage. That's bad. Yeah, pretty much everything else is fantastic. Limits hard damage. That's what you got to do in Yankee Stadium. Under a 35% hard hit percentage, 2.4% walk rate. I mean, this is just a guy who doesn't get himself in that much trouble from time to time. And I guess we got T. McBoo. We can have him speak as the token Yankee fan in the building, but it just feels like a guy that when he gets up there, you don't really ever see the massive kind of K upside. The major concern I have in terms of this entire game is what time. There's some weather cells that are lingering around the ballpark. I think he's good to go for the allotment of 6 innings. Like, I think it might be like a later game delay as I'm looking at things, but Jameson Taillon, sub 3 ERA, 1.01 whip, just serviceable. Last time out against Minnesota, got knocked up a little bit, but a lot of teams are getting hit up by Minnesota at the moment. So I'm not going to read into that too much. We've seen some strong performances with a lot more ground balls, 12-8 against Tampa Bay and the Angels, 30.8 and 28.8 DraftKings points. I mean, these are decent enough outings. The Cubs do not strike out like they once upon a time did. They're middle of the road, 23.1% against righties, 100 WRC plus, exactly middle of the road. Looking up and down this lineup, we kind of know the certain guys you're trying to avoid. Contreras, you're trying to get by Morel, who's been great since getting called up. I'm just going to be playing Taillon a little bit.
Yeah. And now the other side of that would be on Chicago's end. How excited. I don't think you share the same level of excitement. Is that right? With Anderson?
Thompson,
sorry. Yes.
Yeah, it's you don't even know his name, so probably not going to roster him.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Keegan Bradley. I apologize.
Oh, I almost X'd out of all my tabs. Oh, that would have been bad. In baseball, so people don't know, when you're basically looking at different screens and having everything set up, I have 40 tabs up basically, and it's all grouped by game and player and spreadsheets. And I went up to minimize something quick and I almost hit the red X. So I'm running good this morning. Good story. Right. I know.
Good. I like that.
Thank you.
So you didn't have to X out. You didn't have to panic. You could just move on.
I didn't. It's beautiful.
Okay. Right.
I
want anything at all on Keegan before we move to the bats here, and just if you don't want to get too much of Keegan, you could just talk about how you're getting to the Yankees, who are catching some ownership here and decent projection, not an overwhelming projection by any means with the bats expectations.
What is the field doing? Play the Yankees.
Very little.
Play the Yankees. This is so absurd to me. You can play them. Well, I'm not playing Marwin Gonzalez, but I'm going to play 1 through 6, 8 through 9. There you go. I just, this baseball team is out of control right now. And you get Carpenter into the lineup, 3,900 for DraftKings purposes. He's had a lower number on FanDuel here for a while. Let me pull this up. I'm just playing DK today because just a lot to manage. But Matt Carpenter is 3,500. Okay, I knew he got more expensive. That's going to be pretty unowned compared to what it should be. You get Rizzo from the left side, 3,700 over on FanDuel. DK, they're very, very expensive. But I think that there's some cheapies and some guys in the mid-range that I have some interest in. We talked about John Gray, Jeffrey Springs against the Twins. People might be uncomfortable to click based on the Twins, how they've been of late, but I'm going to click on it a lot. I think that there's enough mid-range guys where I can get to these top-end guys. And I mean, Aaron Judge, you just play him every single day. It's absurd what we're seeing him do. Almost a 1.1 OPS, 313 average, 24 homers. He's just doing ridiculous stuff, leading off to avoid some of this walk BS, because there's nothing more tilting than I was just sitting back. If I had a Judge homer, it was like $5K in the $4 on DK the other night, and he got intentionally walked like both times in extras. It was the worst feeling ever when you need a bomb and you just knew he was getting walked instantly.
You knew right away that
there was no way I was getting
death, right? And you can still breathe. You're thinking like, wait a second, I still have life here. No, not by.
No, I did not. No. Free pass.
Right, exactly. Are you getting anything on the back end since you are getting the Taillon with Chicago?
Not really. They're not all that appealing in our top stacks tool. They're not all that appealing as a lineup. If you got the shares of Contreras, he's a great catching option. There you go. 5.8 expected slugging. that should be kind of a no-brainer. Patrick Wisdom's all right in terms of the ballpark, but Taillon is a good enough real-life pitcher, limiting the hard contact, 303 xWOBA. As far as stacking them up, pretty much impossible for me to want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we have to give a shout out to the news god. Comes in, gives 5 Awesemo DFS advice memberships. All right. So look at that. Like, just gifts out 5 memberships right from the jump. And we have to give a shout out immediately here before we forget. Come on. That is insane. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And look, he's not asking for anything. I bet if he were to ask for something, one small thing in return, it would be to hit the thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed. Otherwise, the news guy would come in with a set of demands, don't you think?
I don't know. That's the weirdest thing I've ever read in chat. I'm going to probably...
Now I have to view what you deleted.
Oh. You're probably like, he would have got 1,200 impressions on Twitter.
There's a reason why my name at the bottom. Look, I guarantee you that you find somebody with the same.
I can follow you now.
Yes,
Stacks Teddy.
Stacks Teddy.
All right.
This is the real account.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Peace, love, and cashing tickets. What's better than that, Eytan?
It's a positive only account. That's all. All right.
Okay.
Jordan Lockhart giving out 10. Whoa.
One up it.
This is amazing. I got to be honest here. I mean, we've got nearly 800 people.
Unreal.
Hit that thumbs up button. You're in the house. All we ask in return is that you don't even know, like, this is just raining down on your head. Free memberships are just falling down right now. All you need to do is just show up and then bang, hit the thumbs up button.
Shane Hall. Now let's talk Scooball and why no Blue Jays. Yes.
Are we there yet?
Yes. Oh, we're there, baby.
All right.
I think
is this
yeah.
Oh, by the way, Chicago, I was giving you that. This is a YRFI play today. So put that down.
So you like the run first inning here?
I do. In the Cubbies Yankees game, I do. Not in this game.
I'm all right with that.
I saw you can do that. I did a Prize Picks video the other day. I saw they've added that. So
they're all close to 50-50s, but then there's these massive spots where there's just certain splits, or you can react to how a lineup comes out yesterday. Trevor's story. It was such a beautiful thing. Prize Picks. I love you so much. But yeah, when he moves from 5th in a lineup order to 1st, and you're able to get the same line at, a line that moves $30 at a sports book and doesn't move in terms of Prize Picks, because it's just still on the board. It's so beautiful. So we did that. I did a couple of the over first runs innings allowed, did a couple of, Devers plays, did all of the Aaron Judge. It was just a fun day all around yesterday.
Okay. Let's move to Detroit. Is this a Scooball K day? I mean, let's just look at that. How many Ks? Can I build a ladder here? Can I comfortably build a K ladder with
Let's
Tariq
look at
Skubal?
Odd Shopper. I obviously live in California, and they don't believe in sports betting here.
Well, I didn't mean for like I'll give you the number here. I just meant the theoretical concept of building a K ladder with Tariq Skubal, as far as how comfortable you are in getting to him.
I'm comfortable with anything having to do with Scooball from now until eternity. But that's not true, because last year you knew what you were getting into. You were once in a while getting blasted, but this year 271 xWOBA, 364 expected slugging, keeping the ball in the park, limiting damage, 4% walk rate, 27.7% K percentage. That is higher than both Kyle Wright and Justin Verlander. The only thing is the matchup. Like, Toronto is a brutal matchup. Nobody's going to deny it. It is bright red on the entire screen on Baseball with Savant. But here's the thing. That makes him low owned. And so these are the prime spots where, if you look at the top pitchers tool, 8,800 on DraftKings, you just play a ton of him. You look at him over on FanDuel, 10-2, he's 1% owned. You have to get to some of him in 150 over there on FanDuel. I know Kyle Wright's a better play. I know Justin Verlander's a better play, but at 1% in tournaments, you do this over the long haul, and there are still enough strikeouts with Kevin Biggio in the lineup, Teoscar Hernandez, Gabriel Moreno, who is one of the best prospects in baseball. We'll see what he ends up being. Not the best start, but it's one outing. There you go. Bo Bichette. There's enough strikeouts, 24% plus out of those 4 guys. It's viable, and I just believe in Scooball stuff. I always have been beating the drum for him forever, and now It was purely from a strikeout perspective before, but now everything is coming for the ride. He's basically having the Ranger Suarez season of last year. Only I just like him as a pitcher long term.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, by the way, went 7. I was going to go the greedy 8, but I stayed at 6+ and 7+. I get plus money at both, plus 130 for 6, plus.
I just imagined you looking at the screen and you had like the Grinch smile.
Oh, I wish I could do that. I wish. All right. Let me ask you this. If you could only have one smile on screen for the rest of your life, would it be the Grinch smile or would it be Jack Nicholson's Joker smile?
Oh.
Or Heath Ledger. Ledger.
Yeah, I was going to say Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
My
Ledger was fantastic. You can only get one evil, menacing, grimacing smile there. It's
smile on that face.
Which one?
I'll probably go Heath Ledger.
Okay, that's fine. Now, is that because you have a personal bias towards Heath Ledger?
No, it's because I am respecting the dead, unlike you. You're a terrible person.
Well, you're okay. Hold on. Those two things are not mutually inclusive. Okay?
Yeah, they are.
I am respecting the dead, but I am still a terrible person.
Just my opinion.
Your opinion matters. That's why people are here.
Oh, there we go.
They're here for your opinion.
Or the animated Cheshire Cat.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah. No, okay. I think I can see it.
Yes.
Quinn M. I love Eric's impressions. That makes one person today. I appreciate you, Quinn. Thanks for the shout out. Jordan Klein is sitting back there just like, dude, bro, chill. Like, man, bro, fire. Come on.
You just made Eric's day, by the way. All right. Yeah, we do have to add that and also maybe Jack from The Shining. But I just whittled down one Jack. All right. Let's move now. Are we done with Detroit?
No.
I was sidetracked.
We only talked pitchers here.
That's it. All right, so let's move to the other side.
With as much Scooball as I'm going to roster, I have to have some Toronto on the other side.
You have to, right?
You have to. The wind's blowing out to left. It's 80 degrees, Detroit, whatever for a ballpark, but it's going to be, it's going to be the usual guys that you got to be rostering. I will say you get Moreno at 2K on DraftKings. It's really hard to not click on Moreno at 2K on DraftKings and lineups that I don't have Scooball, which will be more than half my lineups will not have Scooball. So there's that. It's just a pitcher that at 1%, even if he ends up being 5%, I just want to be well over it on my boy. But Moreno, flat 2K. Weird to say that he's like the priority for me from this team, but I guess that's probably the right way to say it. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, the proven commodities. We want to get to some of them, but do not sleep on Moreno down there at 2K. Somebody that I think makes a lot of sense. It's just a pure punt. I'm getting north of 10% of him.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the bigger thing there. All right. Good stuff. Just wanted to make sure that we laid that out from the stripling angle where you could take advantage by all means. So let's move to Chicago, White Sox, Rangers, and decent total to work with here, but more so when you just look at where we have projected run totals, especially for the White Sox in that 4.5 range, not much at all really going for Texas. And that could simply be the matchup. We've got Gray and Coppage, so let's look there. Two guys that I'm sure you have some interest in.
Yeah, this is a pitching spot for me for sure. I mean, this is a pretty clear spot where Michael Kopech's going to get attention, but don't be sleeping on John Gray. 24% K percentage. I'm kind of mad at him still because of the day that I thought I was going to win all of the monies with Hunter Green and with Kyle Bradish going completely nuts at the beginning of their games. They both get pulled in the fourth. And John Gray, who I full faded because he was like 30% out of the middle of nowhere, ends up putting up 12 strikeouts against Tampa Bay and going completely berserk, put up 35 DraftKings points. That's the kind of stuff you get with him. And I don't understand the implied run total for Chicago on the other side of it. This lineup just isn't all that appealing to me. Whatever iteration, you still have Tim Anderson on the IL, Eloy Jimenez on the IL, Robert's back in the mix, but Pollock at this stage of his career just isn't all that good. Andrew Vaughn, you're going to have Jake Berger batting up higher in the lineup. I think this is a pretty clear-cut spot where John Gray, just starting with him, I get that he's given up some hard contact, and I get that he walks some guys. Nearly a 10% walk rate isn't great, but this K upside in this spot with this lineup is pretty appealing for me. If he can get by Berger, Abreu, Robert, those three specifically, I think he's got a pretty clear path. And Berger being, apparently the power profile we're seeing from him this year, 582 expected slugging, has nearly a 30% K percentage. So if he's higher up in the order, batting fifth generally, that's going to be a guy that that he could hopefully rack up a couple with. So John Gray, pretty clear that I'm going to be over the field on him. And then I don't really know what to say about Michael Kopech. He's popular. He's extremely popular, 38.5%, but he should be against Texas. There's guys on the other side from Texas, Seager, Adolis Garcia, Cole Calhoun. I'm going to be getting to some of them against the most popular pitchers. So Texas, a team I have a little bit more interest in stacking up as well on the other side. I'm not going to get to this 38% number for Kopech, but I'm definitely going to have something in the neighborhood of 20, 35, well, short of that. Yeah, around 25%, it looks like, is going to be the prevailing number for me. He's just underpriced for the ability that he has.
Okay, so on that side, I mean, it really is going to limit what you're doing with Texas as a whole here, right? Just
no, I'm playing a little bit of Texas. Just It's just the leverage spot where I don't feel all that comfortable. Well, I definitely don't feel comfortable with some of the other leverage spots against certain pitchers. I do actually have some Miami interest. Maybe that makes me insane, but every time I go back to their numbers against righties, you got to start believing it at a certain point. And I think 3 months into the season, I'm about ready to, whatever it's been. It's just pretty crazy what we're seeing. So even against Verlander, might have a couple Miami stacks in 150 or in my case, 80 lineups that I'm making. But I still feel as though these Texas Rangers, you get Seager, who is just a major league hitter. Like we playing him against a righty when he's going to be sub 5%. In the long run, I'm just very, very happy to be getting over the field on guys like that in spots where people are just shying away because they have so much of the pitcher on the other side.
So let's move. I see already people anticipating the bats in this next game. Let's go to Minnesota here.
Yep.
Twins hosting the Rays. Rays, decent, nice little narrow road favorite there. And again, just looking at the game from a big picture standpoint, with the pitching matchup of Springs, we have Cole Sands on the other side there. So opportunities here, I think, to kind of get through, and maybe it's not weighted one side here for you as far as the stack versus the pitchers.
Yeah, Cole Sands is a guy that actually worked out okay in terms of like, I don't know. We're playing Tampa Bay. Let's not kid ourselves.
A lot of bats. A lot of bats.
Yeah.
Now, how much are you playing Springs, though, against the Twins?
I'm playing Springs a lot. And all right, I never feel good about this because I'm a diehard Twins fan, but there is no doubt that on the days that the Twins aren't putting up 10 runs in a spot like this, there are strikeouts to be had. Larnach, 32.2% K percentage. Ryan Jeffers, every time he's in the lineup, it's like an immediate massive upgrade, 30.8% K percentage for him. There are guys like Araz who just are some of the best in terms of avoiding strikeouts. They used to have the Turtle. Those were good days. And now he's with Miami. It's just weird to see. But Williams Astudillo was another guy that were just contact guys that never struck out whatsoever. Gio Urshela, been a sub 15% guy. But that trio basically of Buxton, Correa, and Polanco, 22% plus K percentages, Buxton and Correa being north of 24%. Like, we're talking about guys that are extremely valuable in terms of bats. And I'm going to scum Dacrit for sure and have Twins stacks, but Jeffrey Springs is just good. 26.8% K percentage, sub 400 expected slugging. The main reason people are shying away is Minnesota's put up runs lately, which is always the dumbest thing in terms of DFS. This recency bias, like the thing that happened yesterday should be the expected result today or something. And as good as Byron Buxton's been, he's been incredible. He's my favorite baseball player maybe ever since Kirby Puckett when I was a kid. Like, Byron Buxton is it. Always has been. He had the yips when he went to the 9-hole, or when he went to the leadoff spot opening day. They put him in the 9-hole. He was a god. Now we're seeing everything we wanted to see out of Byron Buxton. Just stay healthy, young man. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't strike out a lot, and he does. So I think Jeffrey Springs, probably even more so than Scooball, somebody that I'm going to be rostering even more.
Does that mean a Springs ladder could be in the works here?
Yeah, you could talk me into it.
It's a little dangerous of a line to walk as opposed to what we did with Scooball.
Yeah. I'm looking through it. I'm more appealed. It's more appealing to me to do the Scooball ladder than it would be to do the Springs ladder. But Springs is 7,700.
6-7. Can you get 6-7 Ks from Springs today? Like, are there 7 Ks in this lineup?
There's 7. There's definitely 7 strikeouts in this lineup.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's build the 6-7. All I need is a 2-step. I'm not even asking for full steps. One of them is a rung. That's the ladder that we're talking about. This is a 2-step, rung.
I love this. Over 4.5. Jeffrey Springs projected 5.6. Odd Chopper is in complete alignment. Our top pitchers tool. Again, I kind of had my little blurb I wanted to say about Jeffrey Springs, but we're looking at positive leverage for him. I think he's going to be much higher owned than 1.7% ownership. I can guarantee you he will be. He's got too good of a profile not to be. But I don't think he's going to be that popular against Minnesota. And I think people are going more towards the bats on the other side than going to Jeffrey Springs, even if, there isn't a ton of ownership total. 3.5% ownership share for Minnesota. I mean, flat leverage. It's a team that you just play them alongside Jeff. Like you play both sides of it. There's no doubt about it that something could work out for you there.
All right, let's go to Houston. And you said you're all over Cabrera. Let's start with the pitch.
Oh, no. We got.
You're all over Miami.
Rays. We got to talk. No, we got to talk Rays on the other side.
I thought you
Rays
did already.
Bats. No, I didn't say a damn word about the Rays. I said 0 things.
You talked about Cole Sands and in relation to that. All right, well, let's go here. We're trying to move this thing along.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry.
What do you got on the Rays? A lot of bats. You said that right from the beginning. Like,
we have a 7-stack score. You want to get to them. I think over on where is it specifically? Because they're not on. Where are you looking
at FanDuel?
Son of a biscuit. Yeah, I just lost it. It's fine. Tampa Bay, regardless. I'm just saying, like, there's no way that Cole Sands is going to be like a good real life pitcher. I don't know what to make of all of this, but either way, I'm definitely going to be rostering some Rays. Yeah, I want to play some Rays on the other side. They're going a little bit over owned, I believe is what I saw earlier. Yes, but no, 7.4% ownership share, 6.2% top stack percentage, 7-stack score. That's 5th on the board. They're behind Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Kansas City in a game environment that we will get to. But Tampa Bay being 5th, that's a pretty prominent stack score. So I'm going to be looking at them against Cole Sands. I think this is also just a ballpark for Tampa Bay. Slight favorites. You talked about it. Give me the righties. Let's go.
All right. Making sure that we get every single detail there.
Or the lefties. I meant to say the lefties, but
right.
Whatever. It's fine.
Now, you did mention that you're getting to a lot of Miami or maybe more than you should from a stack standpoint. We've got Cabrera and Verlander on the hill. So is it just a matter of countering this field, getting to Verlander? Is that your interest in Miami?
My interest in Miami is they're sneaky good against
low
righties.
Total.
They're a sub 22% strikeout rate, 167 ISO and a 117 WRC plus. Against right-handed pitching, they're in the ballpark of offenses like the Dodgers, the Twins, the Mariners, the Astros. They're better than the Astros and the Mariners in terms of run creation. So we're talking about an offense that's very, very underrated. And you get Jazz Chisholm leading off there after a nice little comfortable day off. You get Rojas from the left side, Jorge Soler, massive power, down to 5K. You're getting a decrease because of the matchup here. He spent 5,800, 5,600 routinely. So you're getting some cheaper bats here. Obviously, there's viability to stacking against the most popular pitcher on any slate. And I think that this is no exception. But I actually do believe that if the cards break the right way, I mean, Miami's offense potent enough, specifically with those batters at the top half of the order, that they could do some damage against Verlander. And Verlander is definitely the preferred play. The ownership speaks for itself. The track record speaks for itself. 45.5% ownership. I'm not saying don't play Verlander. You should absolutely be playing Verlander, but I prefer Kyle Wright straight up. I really do. And then I think Miami actually has some viability on the other side, which is not something I was expecting to say when I woke up this morning.
No. What were you expecting to say about them?
I don't know, just that they suck, but they don't.
Well, that's not really okay. I don't want to push back. Here I am saying that we're tight, and then I'm pushing that.
Chisel my nizzle, Jazz Chisel my dizzle. Let's go.
Yeah,
Jazz Chisholm season, boys.
Is that it?
That's all I have. It's
Jazz
ridiculous.
will be back from the rest. That's what you're getting on the chat.
Kate Upton speaks for itself. Sure does, awesome, yo. Sure does. The fountain of youth, if you will.
Yes,
we found it.
Oh my goodness!
It's a lady, and her name is Kate Upton.
At Eric Lindquist on Twitter. That's how you follow him. Make sure you're following this man.
And then go follow you at Stacks Teddy with 2 X's.
Yeah.
I wish it were 3.
I already got called out by Ben Rasa for posting a belligerent bet on that account. So
good.
Yes, he's keeping me up. Anything else on? I mean, the low total here, you're getting to Miami, but what about Houston? Anything you want to let off with Houston before we get out of here on the next game?
Not really, no.
Okay. There was an opportunity there. I don't want to get scolded like we did with.
No, you wanted me to. No, we're gonna talk. So Houston on the other side.
This game environment. We just did.
Yeah. No. Oh, well, I'm just saying, going up against, I stack Houston every day. So even against good pitchers, you stack Houston. There's opportunity up and down the lineup here. We have Kyle Tucker batting fifth, tiny, goes from sixth to fifth in terms of the lineup. They've been doing that against righties here lately. They just kind of put him right behind Yordan Alvarez. Those two specifically, I am overweight to every single slate. So you can just, it almost feels weird for me to give analysis on them because I just have crazy amounts of them constantly. I will have crazy amounts of them once again today. This entire lineup is just potent. Cabrera isn't all that good. I mean, he's really good, but like, this is just such a tough spot. Edward Cabrera, 27.1% K percentage now, 12.5% walk rate. He is going to be a very special pitcher, I think, in this league, but this is very different than playing Colorado and Washington, where he's definitely had some success. He's up to 9,300. There aren't a whole heck of a lot of strikeouts to be had here with Houston, 21% K percentage, 171 ISO. I definitely am going to see what he's made of today and have some Houston on the other side.
Okay. Final two games here. One of them is the game environment you alluded to. So in Kansas City, this high total, 9.5. Baltimore's in town. Baltimore getting some love from a stack standpoint. So let's look at this final two games. We'll just look at it from a team standpoint, right? Kramer and Orioles here with a 4.6 run projection versus the Royals, who clearly at home with Brad Keller, but a lot of offense expected, to say the least here. Eric.
Yeah. Brad Keller rhymes with Old Yeller, and that isn't meant to be ironic. They both need to be taken out. And
Old Yeller has already been, spoiler alert. You ruined that for people now.
Don't go watch the 80-year-old movie. I apologize. You're gonna be okay, everybody.
What about Ozark? Like, is Ozark spoilable at this point, or no? Like, can you not say something? No,
okay. It's not as if it's been like a month.
I'm just asking.
It's been a month.
I'm just asking.
God, you're a terrible person. Brad Keller is not good at baseball, though. 13.4% K percentage, 284 expected batting average. Oh, Greg S.J. just took that to another level. That was absurd. Oh my God, do not. Everybody thinks I'm going to spoil Ozark. We're not spoiling Ozark on this show. We're gonna tell you to roster Baltimore Pats. They've been a team that's been a lot more popular than you would expect, but that should continue. And now the ownership share has gone down a little bit here on them. You want to roster some of these guys. It's going to be Trey Mancini season. Mountcastle, you're going to do more of that on FanDuel, because on FanDuel, you can roster them both together. Mancini, Mountcastle, you got to pick one. I'm always going to prefer the Mancini route. So that's just my stance on that. Santander back in the lineup after a day off yesterday, 3,800. They're cheap. They're playing in an absolute just ballpark that should have the ball flying in it. Vegas expects runs. We should expect runs. 90 degrees, wind blowing across, kind of out to left. Just expect some runs here. So yeah, Baltimore at their current ownership, a really, really strong play.
Yeah, and the Royals, anything you want to add on that before we flush this one out of here? I mean, look, you're going to get to a lot.
The Royals are just so frustrating because, the Royals end up pretty popular every single slate. There's negative leverage here. I definitely prefer the Baltimore side. I think I have every game of this series, for better or for worse. But Kansas City, you play Sal Perez, you can play Melendez in the outfield on FanDuel, on DK. On FanDuel, you don't really have to think about it. You can do whatever you want because you can roster a utility spot. And then just avoiding some of the riffraff, but there's really no riffraff in this lineup, this version of it, 1 through 9. Pretty much everybody viable to get to from the Kansas City side, but that's why they're all gaining some popularity. A higher implied total. Dean Kramer, we'll see. I mean, this is just kind of a weird spot. Baltimore definitely, I think, the preferred team for me at their current ownership.
Yep.
But if you wanted to target Dean Kramer, his first outing, not so good. We'll put it that way. He's not a good pitcher. So we're gonna definitely have some Kansas City, but being under the field is probably the route to go for me.
Now, Terry, great point about not getting to 300 likes before you spoil either Ozark or the unaired episodes of Better Call Saul. So let's get out of here before you and your loose lips sink some ships over here. You're going to piss some people off. You mentioned something about
them loose lips. I can't help it. I just had to tell the people what I know.
How about St. Louis?
How about them?
All right, let's look at this final game here. No, I kid. Seriously, let's look at this final game. And yeah, I mean, hit the thumbs up button because you never know what show or movie or even book Eric Lindquist is prepared to spoil as a result of not getting the asked for amount of likes. Ashcroft.
Tale of Two Cities. He dies. Oliver Twist. Bad dude dies. We could do this all day.
Save him. All right. You already ruined Old Yeller. Save him for next week. Graham Ashcroft.
Where the red fern grows. Also sad.
Well, who died in that one?
Dog.
Oh,
always the dogs.
Stop bringing up stuff where dogs die, will you? People can handle people dying more than they can handle pets. Don't you know that?
You're like Lofty. You're sensitive. You're fine.
Graham, only to pets. I'm like Tony and Lofty combined. Graham Ashcroft, Dakota Hudson. Apologies to both of them. Graham Ashcroft, and not them, but them prior referenced. Let's look. You're going to get to a little more Ashcroft than Hudson today. Is that a fair read on your face?
Yeah. I don't really see myself getting to a lot of either of them.
This is mostly a St. Louis Cardinals stack game, is it not for you?
Yes, it is.
The Reds on the road. They kind of.
It's always a St. Louis. It's always a St. Louis stack game for me.
Okay. Well, we do have 3 minutes technically. If you would like to drag that out a little bit, or we can get out of here. Jordan can do something else.
I mean, Ashcraft is 9,600 on DraftKings. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is it that you say you do here, DraftKings? Like, that is just an absurd thing to be looking at. Sure, he's been decent enough, but when you put him up at 9,600, you know what happens? He is completely unowned. I would rather roster Edward Cabrera by a long shot, even against Houston, than getting to Graham Ashcroft. The K percentage just isn't there for DFS purposes to justify that kind of a number. 14.3% so far. The ball's going into the ground, but even still, St. Louis, with Gorman batting second, with Tommy Edman at the top, Arenado, no Goldschmidt in the lineup sucks, but for the most part, it's still a team that I just find myself routinely stacking up, and I won't be trying to go completely nuts with them the way that I would against a lefty, but Ashcroft, he's been good so far. We'll see if that continues.
Anything else can you get to it if it's a mini stack or even a couple of one-offs that you could work with Cincinnati, or are you just so disgusted?
Just complete trash. Matt Reynolds is batting second. That's all I really got for you. This is like, no thanks. You take them out of Great American Ballpark, American Small Park, and they immediately become one of the most unenticing offenses. So I know why Dakota Hudson is actually getting some attention, but I'm not going to be even really going to that. This is a game of almost complete write-offs, except for a few stacks of St. Louis.
All right. Anybody that you would like the general consensus out here to be rooting for on the final day? Mine is Tony Finau. So put it all towards Tony.
Oh, no. Sam Burns. Well,
I already have Burns.
I have a pretty
top
penny.
10.
Good. Okay. Well, top 5, top 10 was like the easiest 2 bets ever. FanDuel had incredible odds for that. So broken odds for a guy that I don't know is a top 8 player in the world now.
I have him plus 4,000 to win the Open next week.
Yeah, Hudson is not a terrible cheap play. Yeah, exactly. Give me 15 to 20%. That's what I'm saying. The matchup against Cincinnati, that's what the whole point is. Like Dakota Hudson, you're not rostering him for his pedigree. The guy's been pretty downright awful. 14.2% K percentage this season, 10.5% walk rate, 45% hard hit. Against any other team, you're stacking up against him. But this is Cincinnati, and I really don't have a whole lot of interest.
And that's the thing. You are gaining some, only 5.5% ownership there. The leverage is there, but again, it's what you're doing with it. All right, at Eric Lindquist, you can follow me at Stacks Teddy, 2 X's. Have to remind the world now. Thanks to Jordan Klein, of course, for not 3. I know you want the sex spots out here. All right. Thanks to Jordan Klein for producing. Thanks to you all out there, from Terry to Emac to everybody else. Not Jordan Klein, Jordan Lockhart, the news god, for gifting subscriptions. We appreciate everybody. Hit the thumbs up button, please, on your way out, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Look at that smile from